Welcome to this week's episode of Beyond Sports. I'm your host, the Fitted Nuggets fan, and joining me is my co-host, Bob Taylor.
Hey, hey.
We are coming to you guys from 98.1 Mile High Sports Radio. We have a terrific set of segments lined up for you all today. First up, we're going to be talking some Nuggets now, just kind of the current situation of the Nuggets, as we tend to do, looking at this past week. From there, we will be discussing this playoffs. Lots coming up with the playoffs. You know, very interesting matchup we have here. Interesting end of the season. And then to finish things out, I have a great interview with Al Baker. He's going to be talking some of his sneaker artwork. Very interesting artwork. So be sure to check that out as our last segment here. But getting us started off, we are going to be going into Nuggets now. So, you know, this past week here, we went 3-1. So pretty standard week for the Nuggets there. But I don't know, something felt bad about that Spurs game. But before we unpack that, let's start off with the Jazz. So solid win against the Jazz, 111-95 on the road. What you want to see in that situation? I mean, that's a team that we should be beating by that amount. I don't really have too many complaints about this game. I think everybody did their job here. It was a solid win overall and much needed, as we know, now that we're wrapping up the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Really, the only gripe, Jokic had 5 turnovers. That's fine. I mean,
It's going to happen sometimes.
Yeah, every now and then it'll happen. But him and Murray both had 28. Jokic had 28, 13, 7. Murray with 28, 2, and 4, and 4 steals. And Jokic with 3 steals. So they had a really good night, and they dominated in Utah, which they've not really been able to do in the Malone era.
Yeah, oddly enough, I saw that as well. Very interesting to see.
I forget what the exact stat was, but it was like they're 1-12
Wow.
in Utah since Malone took over.
Very
as head
strange.
coach. Yeah,
and
I
it's
know.
right there. It's not. I mean, it's not super close to Denver, but I mean, it's not far away either. That's a pretty quick flight. So interesting to see that they had that kind of record. But glad they got the W when they needed it. But I'm more interested to talk about the Timberwolves Nuggets game because, frankly, you know, I was at this game and the atmosphere was amazing. Last game of the home regular season for the Nuggets, and it was an incredible game all the way through.
Yeah, I mean,
what a hard-fought battle.
it was a dominant win.
Yeah.
They kind of looked. I'm not shaky in the first half, but they were
It
down
was competitive.
by.
It was competitive.
Yeah, they were down 3 at the end of the first half, and then in the second half they outscored them 34-28 in the third quarter and 33-27 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So they really took control in the second half, and that was really good to see, especially with Jokic dropping, 42?
Yeah, big
41. 7
big
and 3.
scoring from Jokic, and in a rare win when he has to score that many points. And I kind of want to be able to see that from him in the playoffs, and it's just good to see that, again, when push comes to shove, you know, these guys really show up. And that Timberwolves game, like you said, dominating win. You know, I was sitting next to some Timberwolves fans at the game, and they looked upset the whole game, you know, and that's how you know how the Nuggets were doing that one. So really excited to see that win, especially at home. Get that win for the fans. Really cool to see the players on the court after the game throwing out signed items for players and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. That was a cool experience from the crowd, and just a good way to close out the regular season. But on a not so good note, we take a look at this Spurs matchup.
Yeah, the Spurs matchup was pretty tough. I mean, Wemby just went nuts in that third quarter. What do you have, 17 points in 3 minutes?
Yeah, 17 in 3 minutes. And he was hitting like Steph Curry-like three-point shots. I mean, Wemby really scares me as a player. I'm very concerned about him getting into the league the way he is already. I mean, as a rookie, I think he has a solid case for Defensive Player of the Year. I'm sure you might disagree with me.
I do disagree. I think
He
that's Rudy
statistically is better than Rudy Gobert in a lot of the defensive categories at the moment. But I think it's him being a rookie is kind of getting taken away from his actual production because he is good. And granted, he's also had some less than good performances against some of the bigger names, and you could argue that that's the case. But Gobert just gave 42 to Jokic, so
41.
41, yeah.
41, 11 and 7, and then 3 steals from Jokic too.
Yeah, so for me, it's like, that's the MVP right there, and he didn't
give
even
up-
remotely slow him down.
He didn't give up 70 to Joel Embiid though. or 72 or whatever JoJo had earlier.
Yeah, I guess. And Joel plays a lot more physical. Jokic is a mix of physical and finesse, whereas like once Joel gets into the paint, it's all physicality.
Yeah, when he's in the paint, for sure.
And he gets a little finesse on the outside.
Too.
Yeah. He's not like Wemby, though. And I think that's what's going to be so special about Wemby is, if he could just add some more to that base. And, I mean, he's already producing without it. Like, who says he even needs to? You see a guy like Kevin Durant, and he played with his build his entire career, basically.
Yeah.
Like, he's not too far off of Wemby. And it's clear Wemby's strong to a certain degree. Like, he's athletic. He can handle himself.
Helps that he's 7'6", too.
Yeah. 7'4". But, either way, I mean, it's insane for him. Just watching that guy play, like, I'm so happy the Nuggets are in their prime right now, and we're not going to have to worry about him. I give him, like, 2 to 3 years before he's, like, actually actively battling for a championship.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
And with Pop, though, it's like that's one trade away. I mean, they make one trade for the right player. They've got a lot of
team is not great.
They've got a lot of potential guys like Sochan. You could get a lot for Sochan, I think. He specifically isn't like he's one of those guys who has that potential to him. I think that Pop especially knows how to market his guys when he wants to make a trade. I wouldn't be surprised if they do something in the offseason to try and give Wemby a shot.
I think they'll definitely bolster the team heavily and look a lot better next season.
After it's just incredible.
Think about
to
the
watch
Thunder
his
last
performance.
year.
Yeah.
I think it's
the Thunder in a different situation with all the draft picks
they have a ton of – they have way more assets, but I think the Spurs, with how smart that organization is, if they just get a good draft pick this year, make the right pick to pair with Wemby, I mean, have them grow for 2 years and then build around that young core, they can really make a difference. It doesn't help that this draft class is pretty weak and there's not really any, at least in my opinion, clear-cut stars that are coming out.
Get Bronny.
I guess
that would be the craziest turn of events. And then
LeBron goes to play in San Antonio
with Popovich, somebody who's coached him a lot already through Team USA. Oh, that sounds like a story.
That'd be fun.
It'd be weird, but it'd be fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it.
It'd be really strange for me. I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting thing to see. With Pop under the helm and the fact that he's still in the league, he's definitely on the back end of his career now, and the fact that he's like, hey, I'm going to stick around. He knows what he's doing. There's a reason they're in last place right now. They know what they want.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of confidence in the Spurs. They showed a lot of toughness in this game, and I think this is just a case of the Nuggets were caught playing with their food and couldn't finish the meal,
It definitely was. I mean, San Antonio only had 18 points in the second quarter. They clearly did something right on defense, outscoring them by 19 in just the second quarter, and it seemed to kind of fall apart in the third and then really fall apart in the fourth, because not only were they just letting them score, they couldn't get a bucket themselves. They only had 20 points in the fourth.
It was bad. It was really hard to watch. Nobody wanted the ball because it was just that no one's in the rhythm, so they're all kind of passing to find somebody to shoot, and then the open man shoots and they miss, and it just snowballed effect. Murray did have a good game until the end. He kind of cost us the game. I'm not blaming Murray, but, man, I got to mention the end of this game because there's, I think, 0.9 seconds left, and there's been 3 total timeouts called because Pop calls one, Malone calls one, Pop calls another one after they get to the sidelines, like to ice Jokic, the inbounder. So Jokic was going to inbound the ball. Keep in mind, Murray has, 35, 32? I think he had 35.
He had 35, 5, and 4.
35 points. Jokic just missed a shot that could have saved the game, essentially. And so, obviously, I think Jokic should have inbounded the ball. So then come back from this third timeout. Nuggets still have a timeout. Now Murray's inbounding the ball. Time runs out on a 5-second violation. No timeout called. So there's 2 things there that I have an issue with. Why is Murray inbounding the ball when all we have is a touch shot? Like, they have to get the ball and shoot it. And who better to do that than Murray, in my opinion, especially who better to pass it to him than Jokic, especially, considering who had the hot hand that game. And then on top of that, how are we giving up a 5-second violation with 1 timeout left?
Yeah, that
It was
That I
very
don't
strange.
understand.
That was the part that really stuck out to me because it's like, do we just not want to win this game? Do we just not care? Like, they could have won that game. They very well could have easily passed the ball in, got a shot off, made the shot, game over, Nuggets win.
And if they did make that shot, then they'd be in the 1 seed right now.
The 1 seed,
Yeah.
exactly.
They'd have
Unquestioned 1 seed.
home court advantage throughout at least until the finals.
Now, the fact that the only team we don't have home court advantage, obviously the Celtics, if they make it, but the Thunder. I like how the cards fell. I'm more worried about the Timberwolves. I mean, the Thunder are concerned, but I just think
I don't think they have that playoff experience.
no.
yet.
And when you really look at their team as a whole, they don't really have a lot of the same contributing factors that the Nuggets do. Like Shea doesn't have the same.
supporting cast that Jokic
Yeah,
does.
just not experienced, right? Like Chet, obviously a great player, but in a playoff atmosphere in his first year, to step it up in the same manner that an Aaron Gordon is going to do so, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
And same with
or an
J-Dub,
MPJ, or realistically any of the players on the Nuggets. These guys are all seasoned people. I mean, you could even argue Christian Brown's a seasoned playoff veteran because of last year and then just experience in college, winning a championship. Peyton Watson now, this is his second go through of a playoff. So, a lot of these guys have experience with all of this. So I'm really excited to see that. So moving on, kind of finishing out the season here with the Nuggets versus Grizzlies. Good win here. Exactly what you wanted to see. Only concern for me is letting Gigi get so many points. I mean, good for him. I like that he's really started to arise as one of the Grizzlies' top options.
Yeah, he's been a lot of fun to watch this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is, again, it kind of like the Jazz game.
Did take 36 shots. Oh, wow. I did not.
Well, I mean, when
Didn't
you're on
realize that till now.
the Grizzlies have the most injured roster in NBA history.
Yeah, and it's the last game of the season, and he still dropped 44. So who cares? He's gonna get in.
He wants a contract.
Nice little contract
Yeah,
next year.
he wants a contract.
Yeah.
Which why not? If they're like, hey, take as many shots as you want like that, I'll be like, all right.
Scottie Pippen Jr. had another pretty good game too, with 7 for 11 from the field. With
I like
15
that.
points.
I like that. Scotty's getting he got 15 with us last time too.
Yeah,
Kind of interesting.
last week.
Yeah. That was a little while ago. I
2 weeks
think.
ago.
Yeah, it was 3-4 weeks ago, I think now. Time's going fast. This
Yeah.
season flew by. At least that felt way for me. I feel like last year it was a little more kind of gradual. But this year it was opening day. I remember that. I remember Christmas right after. And then it was All-Star right after that. And now we're here.
Yeah,
I feel like it's been maybe 2 months in total of feel time, We're getting ready to wrap up the end of the year already. And, headed to the playoffs. Exciting series. Super competitive Western Conference at this point. So, kind of anybody's game. I mean, going into it, I know we got some playoff talk up here, but how are you feeling about where the Nuggets landed? I know we're going to talk about what they need to do, but how do you feel about how the cards played out?
I feel fine with it. Like you kind of said, I agree. I'm more worried about the Timberwolves than I am the Thunder. I'm also a little worried about the Suns. Not sure how the bracket's looking right now if the Suns are on our side, but I didn't want to play them in the first round, so I'm glad we didn't get the 3rd seed.
I think the Timberwolves drew them.
Yeah, they did. So I like where we landed.
Yeah, and
They're
I like
gonna
that
have
the
to play-
Timberwolves have to face off against the Suns in the first round too,
Yeah,
because that is a tough first-round team to play, and that's a seasoned team as well. I mean, Booker's been here before, KD's been here before, Bradley Beal is hungry to get there. I mean, that's a lot of players who are coming to play,
yeah.
and that's going to go 7
And that's
games.
going to tire them out. Might not 7. I think the Timberwolves are a little
Man,
low.
I don't think so.
If Karl Anthony Towns is
He's
back,
in. He's going to play.
then I don't. I think it'll be 6 games. Minnesota wins it.
I kind of hope you're right. I don't really know who I'd rather see. I'd rather see it go 7 and then Suns win it.
I would rather them go 7, but
I don't know if I want the Suns to win it, though.
I think the Timberwolves are a lot better equipped to handle a Suns team than the Nuggets currently are, just because of their length and
Yeah.
insane versatility on defense.
Nurkic is tough down there, too. He is very physical. I
Yeah.
give him a lot of credit. Jokic doesn't necessarily like the overly physical guys because they're matching his type of energy. Because that's kind of where Jokic is. He's a physical guy, too, down in the post.
I think he's fine with physical guys. I think it kind of depends on the type of game. Frankly, I don't really know if he's how do I put this? I don't really know if he's tried all that hard to dominate Nurkic yet.
Yeah.
Because why show that in the regular season when it's like I'm going to save a little bit for the playoffs?
Yeah, because I just don't think Jokic does
always,
that kind of thing. I think he always is playing to win.
That's
Anytime
true.
he comes on the court, I don't think he's like, yeah, let me not try. I think he's always like, yeah, I'm playing my game every game.
I don't think that not try is the thing. I think it's more so let's get different looks and see how their team's going to look later come playoffs. How can I figure out all of the different exploits to use against your team? You know what I mean? So it's like, this game I should pass a little more, those kind of things.
Right. This has been Nuggets Now with Beyond Sports. Be sure to follow us on all social medias at Beyond Sports 5280. If you have any ideas for the show, feel free to call in, text at 720-446-8463. We have a great new edition of our playoff predictions here coming up next after this break.
All right, welcome back to Beyond Sports. Just got done with some Nuggets knowledge. Now we're going to be talking about the best way for the Nuggets to repeat this year. What do we think? How we think the perfect playoff picture would look for the Nuggets so far at the 2 seed. So currently we got the Lakers versus the Pelicans. They're playing for the play-in spot. Whoever wins plays the Nuggets. Who would you rather see between those two teams?
You know, it's really hard to say. I think the Lakers for us, especially lately, is a better matchup. I think that we just have that team somewhat figured out. You know, knock on wood, obviously. We have to respect any opponent in round one, and I think that's going to be the most important thing, is to not be distracted by round two. We got to come in. We got to be focused on the team at hand. My preference would be the Lakers, especially because of how we have played them and just, again, how we match up with them overall, I think is best for us. But honestly, I think that was kind of a best-case scenario for the team. I think with who we're going to end up playing, either one of those teams, Pelicans or Lakers, is going to be a solid matchup for us in a 7-game series. And I think that we're going to see a quick 5-game series, hopefully, with either team.
Yeah, I definitely think so, too. They're kind of little give and take from each team. Like the Pelicans, I think, are a more complete roster. They might not have as much star power, but I think the overall depth and way that they've constructed their current roster is better than the Lakers, but they don't have the experience that the Lakers have.
No.
Or the star power, for that matter.
I was going to say
they don't have
top
LeBron or
talent
AD.
is much better than the Pelicans' top talent. But that's not to take away from the Pelicans at all. Like you said, much more complete team. They got some really good budding young guys. Some people I like, CJ McCollum, kind of been out of the picture lately from a news standpoint, but still a really productive player.
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram coming back into the picture as well. Honestly, that would be who I'm most worried about out of everybody there, would be a Brandon Ingram type player. He's just very fast, very good when he's hot, especially with the shooting. So, I think he would be kind of a big X factor for them if we were to play the Pelicans. With the Lakers, I think LeBron's obviously always the biggest concern.
100%. And then Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis, yeah, he's a concern as well. Jokic handles him pretty well.
Him in the first round is, I think, a little different than him in the Western Conference Finals like last year.
Yeah, especially with how much they battled.
Yeah, I mean, he's just
battling.
not as tired and worn down from 2 other series in the playoffs.
That's
so
true.
It's a little fresher, Anthony Davis. And do I think that's going to stop Jokic? No chance. But I think it might help AD play a little better on offense.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's exactly what we need to be concerned with. And we just need to respect whatever opponent we get. And just like we were talking about against the Spurs, we got kind of caught sleeping at the wheel, and we just can't have that happen in this round one. We need to come in and get the job done right